Show here with Eric Pierre, CPA. He got an accounting firm, Pierre Accounting. Check him out, pierreaccounting.com. Out in San Diego. It's in Austin as well. Other cities. My man, Eric Pierre. What's up, Eric? How you doing, brother? Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too, man. Just trying to stay warm out here in this topsy-turvy weather in Austin right now. It gets really cold in the morning and really hot, and it gets cold again. So,
yes, indeed. So let me ask you, man, how you think about the hire of Sark? Be over at the Longhorns, man. They got rid of Herman. Now they got Sark, man. So how you like the hire out there?
I think, well, I believe it should be a good hire based on the fact that the one thing that he's done that Texas has not done in the last 11 years is develop a quarterback. And Sark just turned Mac Jones, who originally committed to Kentucky, into a Heisman candidate. And we've not had a good quarterback since Colt McCoy. And everybody was happy with Sam Ehlinger because he was slightly above average. But with Casey Thompson and Hudson Card, I can see, Sark hopefully turn one of them into a machine and get us back to used to seeing, elite quarterbacks. We haven't had elite quarterbacks since Vince and Colt. So out here, we're looking forward to having that kind of quarterback play, and hopefully we can finally challenge Oklahoma.
Man, when I was in college at Tennessee State University up in Nashville, I was see Vince Young in the club. So
yeah,
I have some VY club stories from back in my days at TSU, man.
well, I'll tell you a quick VY story. So years ago, I ran the Austin Half Marathon while Vince was in the NFL. So Vince is 6'4", I'm 6'8". I'm running on Congress towards the finish line. This guy jogs up to me, and I'm jogging a steep incline. This guy said, "Hey, are you Vince?" I was like, "What?"
Oh,
and I'm thinking, how come it's never a limo driver asking me that?
Yes, exactly. Yes, man. Yes, VY, man. He was a cool guy, man. I enjoyed my time around him. Hey, he'll take good care of you. He'll buy the bar for you. He'll buy you some drinks and some food. So I respect the man, man. So VY, my man. I was in school trying to get by, man. We was out having a good time at Chili's on West End in Nashville. He took care of us.
Yeah, that was just probably took care of too many people. I wish he had called me a few years ago. I actually went to college with some of his teammates at Madison High School, so I heard a lot of stories about him. He's really a great guy. He's really great. I heard he's really great in the locker room, and we were not surprised when he beat USC. Whatever he puts his mind to, he always seems to accomplish.
Most definitely. Now, Eric, it's your time of the year almost, man. Tax season, man. So tell us about this. A lot of with COVID, people not working, unemployment. How does that affect taxes? Is that they look at it as income, or is that something else when you have to file taxes this year for 2020?
Okay, yeah. So if you received unemployment, that is considered taxable income. Okay, so a lot of people think that was free, free money. And particularly earlier last year, people were getting about, depending on your state, up to $1,000 a week. That's all taxable income. So hopefully you had some of that money withheld. Also, now for business owners, we can get to that later. If you were shut down, forced to shut down, or you had significant losses of revenue, the government's giving out tax credits for retaining employees for 2020 and also for 2021. So there's some opportunities for our business owners listening to get some money back from the payroll taxes. And plus, if you're aware, we just have a new stimulus bill. There's an opportunity for business owners to get another round of PPP and to get more grant money from the EIDL program. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity. But if you did receive unemployment, that's not taxable money. You do need to report it because your state will send you 1099 for that in the next couple of weeks.
Now, Eric, for those who don't know about stimulus checks, are those taxable income? I've had that question asked to me in my queue as well. Is that taxable?
No, that was just the stimulus payments that you received last year and then what you received this year. Those are considered advanced tax credits. So if you did qualify, you received that check, it's not taxable income. Now, if you did not qualify because your income was high in 2019, but then when you file your 2020 tax, you may be able to get that credit on your tax return to either lower your tax burden or increase your tax refund for 2020. So,
Good deal. Now, Eric, this is a question I have asked as well. When you apply, you get into a new job, how many exemptions do you
uh-huh.
take? Me personally, Eric, I'll take zero. I want them to take all the money they can so I can get a refund back at the end of next year when I file my taxes. So for me personally, I'm gonna take all the money you can, so I don't want to owe you anything. But what do you recommend to people who getting hired new jobs now? It's January now, new jobs are starting, filing their W-4s and W-9s here. What do they? How many exemptions do they take?
Well, that's going to depend on everybody listening is different because you got people that got 4 or 5 kids. Some people may have too many baby mamas.
Yes, yes.
So you'll make sure you're taking those exemptions. And then some people, are single. So my suggestion is that, there's free resources. The IRS has a resource. You go to their website to do your W-4. If you're willing to invest a little money, you can also schedule an appointment with a CPA such as myself, or if you're already working with a tax professional, to walk you through with what your paycheck could look like. There's also websites where you can run example paychecks online to see what your withholdings are going to look like. But at the end of the day, it is your responsibility to make sure you do the right withholdings. And some people have been getting surprises because, President Trump had passed the thing to lower the payroll tax. So you had less payroll taxes taken whether you wanted to or not. And a lot of people, I recommend you should just spend, 1 hour consultation, beginning of the year, get it out of the way, and you'll have that peace of mind. Because some people say, well, I don't want to spend $300. Well, you may not want to spend $300, but you may owe Uncle Sam an extra $6,000 because you didn't take that 1 hour with the tax professional to make sure that everything's okay for your situation. Or you may get too large of a refund. And I know people get excited about refunds, but just remember, refunds are interest-free loans to the government. And periodically, we've seen the government delay issuing refunds, particularly at a time like this. I would not want to have a $10,000 refund tied up in the government when they still have 1 million pieces of mail that the IRS has not opened. We have clients that have $300,000 refunds. They still have not received it.
Wow. Yes, I can feel you on that. And another question, Eric, is this, man. Think about this. The 401ks are jobs. Some of them are pre-tax, some of them are Roth 401ks. For your clients and
Correct.
out here, people listening, what do you recommend in that regard for people?
Well, everybody now, I'm not a licensed financial planner, but the one thing I will tell you is that, we do have planners in our office. You always take the free money that your employer gives you. So if your employer says, hey, we'll give you, 3% if you put in 6, then put in the 6% and contribute up to the match. And then whether you have the Roth or not, it's going to depend on your income level, but definitely take advantage of the free money. And then I would meet with a financial planner to look at your overall situations. One thing that I'm noticing as an accountant is, a lot of people are saving pre-tax, but right now, since we're in a very precarious time where it's likely that tax rates are going to go up for all the bailouts that we're doing right now, okay?
Yes.
That if you put all your money into the pre-tax, what we call a qualified plan, when you withdraw that money in retirement, those taxes are higher. So you also want to meet with a financial planner to look for other buckets, whether it's a Roth or some either a higher income. There are other ways for you to get non-qualified accounts, through vehicles such as life insurance. And our firm, we can definitely help you with that with our, wealth managers, Eric and Jeff. And then, I have an insurance license. So there's a lot, I would hate for you to save $10 million and then the tax rates 10 years from now you're retired is, 40-45%, because someone's got to pay for all these bailouts at some point. We're going to have to pay for it. And
Yes.
so you want to diversify, but the first thing you do, going back to your question, the first thing is contribute up to what your employer is given, because that's free money that they're handing out, and you want to make sure you take that.
And yes, Eric, it was good about this, Eric, because this man is like, for me, I do Roth 401k because I rather them take the money now. Don't
Mm-hmm.
I want whenever I retire in Florida, because I'm going to Florida, I want to avoid the Georgia income tax. So I'm going to Florida to avoid that.
I'm looking to retire in Florida too, man. I'll be joining you.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I know that hey, let me take it out now and go from there. And there we go. Now, Eric, what was the Trump tax cut made it where you could no longer take your state income taxes with your federal now as a deduction, right? Is that correct?
No, yes and no. What the Trump tax law did was it capped the SALT, which is state and local income tax, at $10,000. So states like New York, New Jersey, California, Georgia, where y'all have high state income taxes,
Yes.
so your state and property tax was capped at $10,000. So we saw we, as you mentioned beginning of the show, we have a big office in San Diego. A lot of our clients saw their refunds go down significantly because they're used to paying, some have expensive homes and they're paying $20,000, $30,000 in property tax, and they had, let's say $50,000 or more in state income tax and a high salary. Well, that got lopped out to $10,000. So it may be politically motivated, but that's what it is. It's capped at $10,000 right now.
Okay, to 10,000. So yeah, so when you're in that situation, are there any other ways you can kind of maneuver the money to find other deductions? And because I'm kind of in the boat that they're in where it's capped, and I want to find more ways to be able to play, but rather than just take the hit that I'm taking.
Well, one area you can get extra deduction on property taxes is you should look into investing in real estate, commercial. And when I say commercial real estate, whether you have, I personally don't necessarily recommend single family homes unless you own a bunch of them. But if we get to the multifamily, because those property taxes are not necessarily capped versus the single family home versus your personal residence. And then, everybody's situation is different. So there are also tax strategies available depending on your level of income. I'll give you an example. There was a strategy where a client of mine invested $85,000 and he's going to get his taxes from the past 5 years wiped out.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you off the air about that then. for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also example, same as using me as an example here. Folks, I'm not trying to brag, I'm just using an example for people. So, I have a W-2 and plus I have my own businesses as well outside of the W-2. So for people like me who have multiple streams of income, what is the best way in your mind to try to, do your taxes? Do you do Schedule C's and the 99s or the W-2?
Well, you need to hire me first because there's no one size fit all. Just like I wear a size 14 when I go buy my Nikes, and
Same here. Same here, bro.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's a bad example now.
We both got big feet, bro.
Yeah. Right, but there's no one size fit all approach because it's going to depend on, your business. Your business may be Schedule C, but we have clients that are Schedule C's that have large profits, and then unfortunately, what happens is that you're paying a lot in self-employment tax, and so we have to adjust your filing so that you're not paying self-employment tax. So I would definitely say take a look at work with a CPA or a tax professional. If you don't trust one, you guys can contact us. We're more happy. We do this for a lot of clients. We've saved, I'm going to save a client probably $30,000 just by changing how they file their return in 2020.
And folks, Eric can help you. If you're in Atlanta, Orlando, Birmingham, Memphis, in Dallas, this is virtual. It's global. We can get it done. PierreAccounting.com will help you. Trust me on this. Go to his man's website, PierreAccounting.com. See, I'm plugging it for you, brother. See, that's right.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And especially a lot of people don't realize, like as a CPA, with the AICPA, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, who oversees our license, we have mobility rules that allow us to virtually serve people in other states. So I do have clients in Georgia. I have clients internationally. I have clients in Texas and California, New York State, all over the country. So with virtual, you don't have to be face to face for us to to serve you, in particular since a lot of people, are sensitive with COVID and some people are, maybe at risk. We can definitely take care of you. And it's pretty easy. If you go to our website, there's a button that says contact us. You fill it out and somebody will contact you to schedule a virtual appointment with me right away. So it's not that difficult.
Now, Eric, in our community, black community, like you and I, we kind of get the money and taxes aspect of it, but a lot of our families don't understand tax. There's the boogeyman, taxes and money. So, how do you go about helping us as black people become more financially literate, understand more about accounting, taxes, so we'll make our money grow, and let's work a W-2 forever and just get dead in that way. We can kind of expand, make our money work for us, rather than just saving it underneath the mattress or putting it in a lockbox, like a grandma and
great. My great grandma, she had money underneath her mattress too. Yeah, that's funny.
So how do we go about getting us, our people, more open to learn about money and more financially literate about it, and want to make our money work for us?
Well, that's a loaded question. What we do is, periodically, I do speaking engagements, and we have a YouTube channel. If you type Pierre Accounting on YouTube, you'll see we have about 40 or 50 videos where we talk about multiple things. And so I would suggest, first of all, so I would, look up our YouTube channel. You'll find some great nuggets there. I would also follow some intelligent people that talk money. Dave Ramsey, he's got a podcast. He's probably the best person. I may not necessarily agree with 100%, but he's got a lot of good principles. And I would follow people like that talk money. And, and I'm trying to think, because, in our community, we don't have a lot of high profile financial professionals. There's a couple I could take, if I just can't think of names. Like that one guy on Fox Business, I think his last name is Payne. He has a show every day. And so I would, with Google, there's so many things out there, but I would definitely start out by finding a good CPA. And then I would try to find a good financial advisor that's got a good track record, because, the downside of financial advisors, now the ones we have in our practice, they're really good and we've vetted them out, but there are a lot of people that are out there, pushing stuff. And I don't want to name some of them are with multi-level marketing outfits, so I don't want to name drop because I don't want the lawyers calling me.
Most definitely, same here. We don't need no problems.
So I was drop the name and I was like, I better not do that.
Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, we don't need that.
And listen, if you're not sure who to work with, you guys, your audience can contact us and we can put you in touch with the right financial advisor. Because I know some people, when it comes to money, they really want somebody locally. We can help you find somebody locally. There are enough Black professionals that we can pair you with somebody. But yeah, it's funny. I'm a Christian, and the one thing that the Bible talks about more than anything else that people don't mention is money, and most people miss that.
Yes,
it's money. It's not sin. It's not salvation. It's money. Money's written in the Bible more than anything else. Most of the parables in the Bible have to do with money.
Yes, I definitely agree about that, brother. It is, you got that right. People don't realize it too. And you know what, Eric, it's so glad you said it, because we need more resources like yourself, because a lot of times, same with doctors. And I had a doctor on the show here a few weeks ago. It's like black people want us to get worked on by another Black person, because it's like, it makes us feel more comfortable almost, because you can relate to our struggle, right, our background. So a lot of my audience loves to work with Black businesses and Black people. So I do that here on the show. I want to promote Black business. So I'm sure that my guys here on the show, my listeners here, will contact you and help you find them who somebody, if it's not you, somebody in the area, because I know my listeners love to support Black business on my listeners. They love that.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with Black people, African Americans, excuse me, doing business with one another, because every other culture does it. And so, now it's when it comes to CPA, that particular, because you don't have to have a CPA license to do taxes, but when it comes to the CPA world, less than 1% of us are Black or African American right now. So according to statistics gathered by the National Society of Black CPAs, we have currently less than 5,000 licensed CPAs that are Black or African American in this country. Wow. And most of them are not practitioners. And I'm a second generation CPA. My father was a CPA. He was not a practitioner. But it's funny, in our household, we have two black CPAs. You can go to major cities and not even find two black CPA firms in major cities right now. You cannot. There's some
Wow.
now. You're seeing Atlanta. You guys are quite a few because you guys are basically Chocolate City South. But there's some major cities. It's really hard to find an African American CPA.
And I'm honest with you, Eric. I majored in business administration, and the classes I had at worst kind of struggle was business finance and accounting. Those are classes that kind of I was like, oh man, I wish I had focused more on those classes. Now that I'm in business myself and on my own, now I wish I had locked in more back in the day at TSU rather than looking at the girls looking good in class with me.
Yeah, well, it was easy for me to stay focused because my dad told me, he's 6'9". He looked down on me before he drove me off to Nacogdoches and said, "Son, if you part of my dime, you're paying for this." So I lived in the library for 5 years, man.
Stephen F. Austin, that's where you went. Stephen F. Austin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the coach there, and me and him are real cool. Kyle Keller, me and him are real cool. The coach out there, the basketball coach, we're real cool.
Oh, the current basketball coach. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know Kyle, but I remember he was an assistant at Texas A&M before he took that job.
My man Amir was there too. Abdul Rahim at Kansas State now. My man Amir. You remember him?
Okay. I was there from 1998 to 03. I don't remember Amir because I actually was an athletic tutor as well. So I don't remember a guy by that name.
Gotcha. College Station. I mean, it's definitely a college town for real, man. It's popping on the weekends for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed my time in Nacogdoches. I was fortunate to, I made homecoming court, and while I was there, and also had a chance to, change the compensation for resident assistants to get a free room and a stipend today. It was from a bill I wrote back in 2000.
Nice, man. You know what's cool about Texas, Eric, is this. There's so many nice D1 schools in Texas to go to. They want to play football or basketball, so many of them there. So how was it knowing when you was playing ball, when you was growing up, man, all the competition to play, all this talent down there in Texas. So how was it competition-wise kind of competing against all those dudes in your era there?
Well, I'm kind of old now. I'm 40, even though people say I'm young. It was just a different time. People really like competing against one another. We didn't have that many people teaming up like they do today. I didn't play AAU, but AAU was really hard to get into. Versus today, everybody and their mom and dad can play an AAU squad. And we didn't have also growing up, we didn't have as many distractions. We didn't have these smartphones, tablets. The video games weren't as nice. So, we would go outside and play. I used to play against bigger kids. In junior high, I used to play against, guys like, Edwin, a guy named Edwin Tanksley. He was 6'4", and his homeboy was 6'5". I remember I shot a jump shot, and the guy picked me up in the air and slammed me to the ground. I still made the shot, and it was just a different time. And you just had to, if you wanted to play, you had to be willing to take, because we're rough riders out in the South. We're not quite the pretty boys like in out west, and you just had to take a hit because most guys play football, so we tend to be a little bigger on the basketball court, more physical. From a lot of those guys, grew up playing football and then focused on basketball when they get to high school.
And you're right, because I'm in my early 30s. I'm 33 years old. You're 40, so I think the generation after me is now it's more so you play one sport. I played baseball, basketball, football, and tennis. Right. So I played all year round different sports, right? So, and I'm like, nowadays if you pick your sport, that's what you do. It's no all year long you're doing something different. So you're only exposed to, this is my lane, football, basketball, baseball, whatever. And I feel like your generation, my generation, and one behind the last ones where you can kind of dabble dabble before you pick. Now it's like we putting you here. This what you're gonna be all your life. So hopefully you make it into this sport. Hopefully, but if you don't, you're screwed.
Yeah, that's a shame because it's funny. I played soccer and basketball and baseball. My dad was mad at me about not giving baseball a little more time, but I got frustrated with the high strike zone. But when I see those contracts today, it's like, man, I wish I'd taken baseball a little more seriously.
Man, bro, this is no joke, man. I talk about how I switch hit by my old Fisher Price little T bat. I learned to check back left hand on my that way, so I was able to bat either way because I would mess around with it and just say, okay, let me try to hit. So it was funny that a Fisher Price little T set taught me how to bat left handed as well as right handed.
Yeah. I wish I was a left-handed pitcher that could throw 98 like Blake Snell or Randy Johnson. I'd be wealthy for the rest of my life and probably the next 3 generations.
I think one of my worst moments was as a 10-year-old, Eric. I fell asleep in left field. That's how bored I was out on my feet, bro. I was like, "What's wrong with you, man?" I had dozed off in the outfield. That's how bored I was. And moving. I was at first base for the rest of my life. I was first baseman. No more outfield for me. I was just bored out in left field.
Yeah. It's funny. I played left field and I also played second base, and I preferred second base. I couldn't stand because sometimes the pitcher's so good, there's nothing happening for 2, 3 innings, striking guys out. It's just kind of boring after a while.
Now, folks, Eric's firm has a big sports background. Tell us about your firm and your people you work with who have a great sports background that you want to share the listeners here in Atlanta and beyond, brother.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. Well, so me personally, I played for the San Diego Guardians of the ABA a few years ago for a quick minute before my old body got broken down. But I appreciate Brandon Cheeks put me on the roster. And then let's see, our chief compliance and analytic officer Trevor Harris was a college tennis player at Millsaps College in nearby Mississippi, close to where you're at. Let's see, Melvin Fairby, our general counsel, he was a 4-year letterman at William and Mary. Skylar Hoffman, our California counsel, was a 3-year letterman in football at Davidson College, where Steph Curry played basketball. Our chief operating officer, Kirsty Conway, she's competed in a few NPC shows. And then Ben, I know Montgomery, our chief financial officer, played some sports, but he also served in the United States Navy. So, and one more, our new hire, Carrington Bindum, who he was all Big 12 corner at the University of Texas, and he played in the NFL for Baltimore, Carolina, Arizona. So I always tell people that if we were to go against the small firms and flag football, we would probably spoke them. Now, if we're gonna start going against Deloitte, where they're hiring guys that played at Syracuse and stuff, we might have trouble. But against the mid-sized firms and down, we can put Trevor quarterback, we can put Carrington wide receiver, give our quarterback time to throw, and we're gonna smoke you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Hey, I can still go out there catch balls too, brother. I still got some speed left. I got some speedy size 14s left, man. I love something.
Well, Carrington ran a 4.3 on his pro day at Texas.
Wow, man, he was moving, boy. He was moving. Yes. Now, so are you guys are you a Rockets fan or Mavericks or you a Spurs? Which one are you, man?
Man, I grew up in Houston, man. It's got to be Rockets. And no way I could never, as a Houstonian, a true Houstonian like me, could never root for any Dallas team. That means no Cowboys, no Mavericks, no Stars. Their MLS team, their WNBA. I don't root for none of their college teams. Nothing. No Dallas.
I feel you on there. So let me ask you this now. Now, my man Robert Covington was there from TSU. He got traded to Portland, unfortunately, but that was my guy. So what are your thoughts on your boy James Harden? Is it time to trade him away and move him on? Or give me your thoughts, brother. Because you're a Houstonian, man. Talk to me.
Oh, man, James. First of all, I enjoyed Robert Covington play. I was not happy that he was traded because he was a really good perimeter defender, and he started becoming a better three-point shooter. And I'm surprised he's been traded that much because he seems to be a really good locker room guy. As for Harden, I think at some point you're going to have to trade him, but I would not trade him right now because nobody is willing to give what they want. Guys like James Harden only show up once every 20 years. And, that situation's become untenable because, supposedly James is not happy that the owner is a Trump fan. And I think, and then Daryl Morey left and then D'Antoni left. So he was offered extension, but he didn't want to be part of a rebuild because, Tillman Fertitta, his money is tied up in the casinos and restaurants right now. So he is cash strapped and he's looking to reduce payroll. But I would wait till close to the All-Star break when teams are desperate, and then I think you'll get a suitable trade. I would try to get a Ben Simmons if I could, if I'm Houston.
Most definitely. Now, I feel bad for Coach Silas, his first job, and the star player don't
Yeah.
want to be there, and all this drama. I mean, as a young black coach, man, who's paid his dues all these years, man, I feel bad for that brother because he's coming into a mess. He signed into a dysfunctional mess, unfortunately.
I would agree with you, and that is something I'm disappointed with James because a lot of all of us athletes, whether we're NBA, most of us African Americans, let's just be honest, and I'm sorry if this offensive, but most of us want to play for black coaches,
Yes.
and this is one of the rare chances where a black coach was hired to a good organization because normally black coaches start off in really bad situations.
Atlanta, Lloyd Pierce.
Like Atlanta, Lloyd Pierce, right. Byron Scott, coached the Lakers when Kobe was at the end of his career, not peak Kobe. And, Doc Rivers started out in a bad situation in Boston. The only reason that got good because they were traded
Remember
for
Orlando first.
Right.
They fired when Tracy McGrady got hurt. They fired him mid-year. He joined ABC, and then he got the job at Boston after the ABC run when the Lakers.
Right, but Boston was not. But Boston was not a good job until the trade for Garnett and Allen. And I was disappointed in James not wanting to help a black coach feel good. I understand. Look, if he doesn't want to be there, I get it, but he should at least come to camp on time, be in shape. Stop the partying, make Silas look good, and it actually would increase his value and help him get traded. Because right now, James is what we would call a distressed asset, and I have wealthy clients that go get distressed assets that never pay top value for it.
Most definitely. And look here in Atlanta. Now, we've blown leads last 2 nights against the Knicks and the Cavaliers in the fourth quarter, up by 15, up by 13, and we're 4-3. And it hurts me because I like Lloyd Pierce. And you know who we hired as his defensive coordinator, don't you? Nate McMillan, a former head coach, right? So guess what? If the Hawks aren't playing too well and we're not going to make the playoffs, and guess who's the coach and waiting already on the bench? Nate
McMillan.
So when every loss, it hurts because that could mean now he's having much room to work with. If it gets kind of bad, Lloyd, we're gonna go a different direction, and got the guy on the bench already, Nate McMillan. If I was Lloyd Pierce, I wouldn't. I know he probably forced it on him. Probably, I would not have wanted him on my bench because his best friend Greg Foster went to the Pacers with the coach Bjork in Indiana. So he got a promotion, right? It's assistant up in Indiana, so it opened up the spot on the bench. And hire McMillan, and if all Lloyd Pierce, I'm like, that ain't. If I don't get off to a good start, we ain't moving in the right direction.
Because this is, if I recall, this is Lloyd's first job, right? So
yes,
ownership probably wanted an experienced head coach, but they didn't give him someone like, say, Del Harris or guys that are experienced but are not trying to be head coaches anymore.
Yeah, and so he had Chris Gent at Ohio State, Melvin Money Hunt, Greg Foster, and that was his first staff. He had 2 years developing all those guys, all those young guys, getting all those L's. Now our GM spent all this money because Bogdanovich was off the bench, 4 years, $72 million, $18 million a year. Danilo Gallinari, 3 years and $61.5 million off the bench. Rondo, 2 years, $50 million off the bench. Chris Dunn, 2 years, $10 million off the bench. So all this money is in our bench. I'm like, I know you want to spend the cap space, but these, I don't know, man.
No, you have to start some of those guys. Now, I wouldn't start Rondo because that's Trae Young, but yeah, Bogdanovich should be starting.
He come off the bench every night. Well, we're starting Trae Young, Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and Clint Capella. That's who we're starting.
Man, I miss Clint in Houston, man. He was a really good rim protector.
And
he's really good. And Clint's also really good at the pick and roll,
Yes.
rim run off the pick and roll.
Oh yes, Trey Young loves that, man. Throws them lobs, man. So off the bench we got Solomon Hill,
Mm-hmm.
Bogdanovich, Rondo, Kevin Herter, or Bruno Fernando, or Gallinari when he's healthy. So we have 11 men that we can play on a given night, right? If and I'm like, we all, I think we have too many guys who we can play too. And then Chris Dunn's hurt. So it'll be 12 guys we can actually play. I think we have too much we can play. And you got to remember, we got these young draft picks in Hunter, Collins, Herter, Reddish, with Trey Young. And so I feel like
Mm.
you're trying to, what are we trying to win now or develop our talent and figure out who's going to be here later down the road? So, man, I feel like the ownership's ants to win is kind of mucking up for Lloyd, and it's like we're kind of in that middle path right now of win now or develop our talent. We're kind of
Yeah.
purgatory almost.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Kim Reddish is going to continue to develop because I thought that he'd be a little better by now because I like his length and his outside shot.
I thought he would be better too. So, but and I think when it gets down to it, we'll be playing more of Gallinari and Bogdanovich and Reddish will probably start, but not finish games when everybody gets healthy. Because Rondo is hurt right now, Chris Dunn is hurt right now, Gallinari is hurt. So we got 3 bench guys who signed are hurt right now. So Cam's getting a lot of run, and we're blowing fourth quarter leads to these Cavs and Knicks. I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah, but you guys are still going to have a better year this year. I think if you guys contend for a playoff spot, I don't know. I don't necessarily think the goal is to make the playoffs, but if you can hover around the 8-9 spot, I would consider it a big success this year.
most definitely. Now, Houston, a job opening with the Texans. Now, Bill O'Brien would trade you for a bag of chips, obviously. Like,
Oh man.
and our Falcons job is open here too. Now I'm like, hey, I would not want the Texans or the Falcons job because of salary cap and picks. Picks with Houston and salary cap in Atlanta. I mean, I would try to get San Diego, the Chargers rather, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Jaguars, and the Jets because they have draft picks to work with. In Atlanta, Detroit, and Houston, you got to deal with other ownership factors and not being Bear. I don't know, bro. I'm like, whoever comes to Atlanta, you already at your hands behind your back if you sign here. Same with Houston, if you ask me as well, because Bill O'Brien traded the whole world away for nothing.
I would say the Houston job is still a good job because you have Deshaun Watson. In the NFL, you got to have a quarterback. I think the best jobs are actually going to be Houston. I'm not ranking them. Houston, the Chargers, and then Jacksonville, since it's presumed they're going to take Trevor Lawrence, and then maybe the Jets. But wherever there's a good quarterback, that's the job you want to take because as long as you have a quarterback, you can figure things out. In Atlanta, Matt Ryan is a little old now, and he's got a big contract.
Matt Schaub is retired. Matt Schaub retired yesterday. He said I'm done. Matt Schaub made $3 million this year to do nothing.
Man, I remember what Matt Schaub did in Houston. I don't want to talk about that.
Same in Atlanta too, man. Yeah, man. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, man. Like our cap is tied up, bro. Like,
yeah,
I have no idea what to do, man. I think we came to Houston, was up 28-3, and blew that lead, and they've been saying ever since.
Yeah, and then Kyle Shanahan left, and Matt Ryan also looked like a B quarterback 7-8 plus, huh?
Yeah, so yeah, man. So man, I love Houston though. One of my good friends, 2 of my good friends actually, Scott Pierre coaches at Rice, and we got my man Johnny Jones and Randy Peel over at Texas Southern. Those are my guys, man. So when the Hawks come to Houston all the time, I go over and see those guys. And I'm like, oh hey man, how y'all doing, man? And in fact, the Hawks always do a shoot around at Rice. Because the Rockets are at Toyota Center on the floor. Because the Rockets facility, the Toyota Center, the Hawks don't do shit around there.
Right.
And they do shit around at Rice rather than Toyota Center.
Yeah, I don't live in Houston anymore, but yeah, I do remember that the Rockets practice court is in the Toyota Center building where they do their shoot around. Man, I've been to Rice now. I know they have a beautiful new arena. I went to a game when Ben Gordon and Emeka Okafor played for UConn at the old Autry Court that made high school gyms look good.
Wow. Wow. Ben Gordon and Emeka Okafor. I remember when who drafted the Bobcats drafted Emeka Okafor over Dwight Howard, right?
No, he was drafted number 2. Orlando had the number 1 pick
Okay.
and took Howard. So there was a debate about Okafor, Howard, and Orlando picked correctly. Okafor wound up having a back issue.
Gotcha. Well, Eric, man, you've been good with your time, bro. Before you go, tell people more about your PierreAccounting.com, your firm, and how people in Atlanta and beyond can get help from you and your staff, man, because it's been great talking to you about sports and taxes and money. It's been fun, man. But tell people about your site one more time, brother, before we get out of here, man.
Okay, so anyway, in case you guys missed it, my name is Eric Pierre. I'm the CEO, owner of Pierre Accounting. If you want to find our website, it's www.pierreaccounting.com. On the website, you can hit contact us to set an appointment. If you're into social media, you can follow us on Instagram at Pierre Accounting. We're also on Twitter under Pierre CPA. And one thing I didn't get a chance to share with you, I have a private Twitter account that's public, and those views don't necessarily reflect the views of the firm, but that account was named top 100 must follow tax Twitter account by Forbes magazine on New Year's Eve. So we're growing, and we're able to help you not only maintain your wealth, but help you grow and build a legacy, because you work so hard to make your money. We want to make sure you help keep it and pass it along to future generations.
No doubt, Eric. We'll follow you at Pierre Accounting and Pierre CPA, and send me the private account. Text you off there so you have my number as well. So we'll stay in contact, okay. Brother. It's talking in sports game with each other, man. Talking Chuck, man.
I appreciate that, Bossman.
Anytime, folks. It's Eric Pierre. Check him out. PierreAccounting.com is the website, folks. This is Bossman Eric. We out here, people. Check us out.